Do you like card games but wish it had more chess-like strategy? Do you like chess but wish it had more card game randomness? Do you like Hearthstone but inexplicably hate Blizzard's guts? If you answered yes to any of these, then the next question you should be asking yourself is, should you play Cards and Castles? Hello everyone, I am the Walking Virus and welcome to Should You Play, the web series where I invest the time into a game so that should it suck, you don't have to. Today we're talking about Cards and Castles, a collectible card game available for free on Steam. So the first thing that you will notice is when you start the game, you will have a quest screen here. You get a different quest each day. This can range anywhere in between winning multiple matches as a specific class, just winning multiplayer matches in general, or summoning a certain amount of minions of a certain cost. Let's head into the cards here. There are 5 different classes, including one neutral class. We have the Vikings, that are big burly men, specializing in positioning as well as basically just buffing up units so that you can surprise kill a bunch of really high cost things. There are the Crusaders, which are the tanky style type of class. They specialize in buffing up each other's health, healing, and making it so that when you get attacked you do more damage. The Pirates, which are more about gaining a gold lead and just general pillaging and getting good buffs at the cost of a gold lead, so you can kind of counteract each other. The Warlocks, which are more about hurting your own units or damaging them or sacrificing them to get increased benefits. Then the Ninjas, which involve a lot of stealth, involve a lot of movement buffs, being generally sneaky and swapping out each other, etc., etc. Then the neutral ones, which will be the majority of most of your decks for quite some time. Because the first sin of this game is that you have the 5 starter decks, but you do not have access to any of the actual class-specific cards in those starter decks until you have leveled up quite a significant amount. So you can't actually customize all that well until quite a ways in. But let's go ahead and hop into a game to show you some of the mechanics here. We'll go with the Ninjas just because I like being quick and agile. So as you can see in the upper left hand corner, they will each have their unit cost, very similar to other card games. You gain a resource each and every single turn that you can use to summon the creatures. In this particular campaign setup, which are the single player missions, these buildings will actually deal 1 damage to a random enemy every single turn, so I do not want to be summoning anything quite so fast. So I will wait until turn 2 so that this thing will actually live. As you can see, the board is set up in a little grid shape. The main point of this is you can actually benefit greatly from positioning in different ways. For example, there is one of the ninja things. I actually just returned that unit to my hand and dealt a bunch of damage around to the following units. So you actually have a little bit of room to adjust according to what your opponent has. The only problem with this is that during their turn they can spawn units at their base, so they can essentially just deny you any type of gaining of ground. Now, there are a lot of different classes and you can mix 2 different classes to create different types of decks. So for example, you can have like pirate ninjas if you want to, despite their long-running feud. And it can come with some pretty interesting ideas. The problem is that with the cards available, there currently is not any type of control deck. So for fans of other collectible card games, you may be familiar with this style of deck. It's a lot more manipulating the opponent's creatures, killing them, making sure that they can't do anything, as opposed to running a lot of lower-end aggressive creatures. And this game just doesn't have any capability for that. it just isn't really supported in the actual game's methodology. Which, if you're looking to just goof off and have a little bit of fun with it, it's not the worst thing. It just lacks a lot of depth later on. Now, this game does have one neat thing, which I will showcase here in a second. So let's say that I advanced here and I realized, oh, I really didn't want to do that. This is putting me in a horrible, horrible position. You have up to 5 undos in a turn, which will immediately just let you go, nope, I didn't mean to do that at all. Not happening. Now, this can be kind of interesting, just in the sense of it allows for, if you misplayed, you can actually adjust what you were doing, but it only counts for the last action that you were doing. So if you summoned and moved something, you would only be able to undo the move, not the summon. Which isn't completely terrible, but it's still not as good as it could be. Now, as far as whether or not I think you should play this game, I would say that there are plenty of other card games that are a lot better. For example, Hearthstone, despite the joke I made earlier, unless you really, really hate Blizzard, Hearthstone is just better than this hands down. There are a lot of different deck options that you can do that are mostly viable, except for high-level competitive play. Duel of Champions has a significant number of decks that you can run with. They're constantly evolving all the time. This seems to kind of keep going in the same direction and doesn't really seem to have any type of adjustment to it. That could of course change later on, but as of right now, it doesn't look like it's heading in any direction that will favor control decks or anything of that sort. Now, I will say that this does have some neat aspects to it, but really, Hearthstone is just better. It's the same type of mechanics, just done better. But that's all for now. If you guys do have any other questions, or if you want to discuss this further, feel free to leave a comment in the sections below. Hopefully you like and subscribe, and until next time, keep gaming.